Our story begins in Hong Kong, China. In 2010, I was scheduled to go to Hong Kong for an international business residential. And one thing I like to do on all my business travels is I like to jog. I like to go up and down the streets, mingle with the people, and get to see firsthand all the surroundings. Now, unfortunately, China's industrial machine had something else in mind when I was in Hong Kong. For the entire 4 days, this was my scenery. So it burned my eyes, it burned my throat, even coming from the airplane and walking into the hotel. So jogging or doing anything strenuous outside was out of the question. So what I had to do instead is I had to go inside the hotel and do my workout inside, which is a second choice of mine. So as I'm exercising, the first thing I thought, and I struggled with words here, but I wanted to come up with something really descriptive, and the best I could do is pissed off. So I was really pissed off because I got forced inside, not by rain, not by hail, not by snow, things that it's okay to get forced inside by, but because of this pollution, this thing that we created. The next thing I started to think is pollution really this bad? Like I hear all these commercials and everything about it. Is it this bad that someday my children, 50 years from now, 30 years from now, even 20 years from now, it's going to be the condition all the time where they get forced to work out inside and they can't enjoy the outdoors like I do? The next thing I thought is, what am I doing exercising? It's kind of like the person that diets and gets the Diet Coke at McDonald's with the 2 Big Macs. It's like, I'm going to go breathe all that air in outside after I get done exercising, so isn't it kind of undoing everything I did? So the people who exercise should really have a bigger stake in the environment and the cleanliness of that environment. And then finally, the last thing I thought is, being this is my second choice inside, how much better I would feel if I was doing something while I was on this bike inside to help the environment. And this is really where I came up with the idea for fitness-generated electricity. So then we went back and we started tearing into things, and I got a few friends together, and we found out that all of this equipment, this is called self-propelled gym equipment, and all of this equipment today makes energy already. If you look at the elliptical trainer in the upper left-hand side, there's screens on that trainer. So that trainer has a generator in it. Just like all the machines, they have a generator, a controller, and then a control panel. So it's pretty simple. You click up level 7, and it puts more strain on that generator, and then it generates more power. The thing today that all that power is getting wasted in the form of heat. So what you can do is you can actually take that controller and bleed off that into an inverter. And you guys who've been up the ark already, you probably saw one of these inverters on the wall. That converts it back into usable electricity so that it could be consumed within the ark. Also, there's some new innovation coming out where actually the board can plug right into the wall, and instead of taking power out to light the panels, it'll put power back in as you exercise harder. So being this was already created, we're like, all right, cool, it started. Why isn't it taken off? Why is there only 100 gyms in the United States and not thousands in the United States that have this? What we found was that people couldn't see the power, so they couldn't appreciate what they were doing. So what we did is we created these screens, and it might be a little bit hard to see, but we wanted to create screens so we can communicate power similar to the way you could communicate other metrics as you're exercising. So if you're on a bike, it tells you how many miles per hour you're going. That's your real-time feedback. And then it says you went 3 miles during this workout, and that's your cumulative feedback. So it's the same with energy. We show a lightning bolt with how much power you're generating right now, and then we show the battery that says over the length of the workout how much you generated. We went a step further to personalize this so that you could actually log in, and it'll tell you on the board how much you're generating compared to everybody else. And we also have an anonymous switch because some people didn't want their names up there. So real time and then cumulative time, you could see your individual scores, and on the bottom you could actually see the whole gym. And then we went a step further with this. We said, okay, now we show it to the people. Let's show it to, let's go a bit wider. So this is a posting on Facebook that's an optional setting where you can actually post how much power you created during your workout up to your social media pages. So there's also some other things we've done in the ARC. We've competed sophomores against juniors, against seniors, against grads. And we're even now between schools. So the ARC is our first install, University of California, Irvine. And you'll see we have the kiosk, and the kiosk lets people log in so they can get associated with their bike. And then there's 3 screens on the kiosk. On the bottom right-hand side, you'll see the battery screen, and that toggles to the lightning bolt screen. So this way it gets pretty interactive for people. And the machines, we have 8 ellipticals hooked up that you'll see in the upper right-hand side. So these are actively putting power back into the grid at the ARC. Now, just a few weeks ago, we finished our install at Sac State in Sacramento, California, and this is our second install. So it's pretty cool to look at UCI against Sacramento right now. You can see the differences. And basically what they have is a kiosk, but it's a little bit unfair here. They have 19 machines hooked up to the grid, and they're reclaiming the energy from 19 machines. So we were on Channel 40 News up in Sacramento just a few weeks ago, where they were reporting on this and getting the energy back. All right, so now I have to ask everybody to help me with a little bit of math, because this is part of our research that we had to go through, because one of the biggest criticisms that everybody said is, John, what are you, nuts? People can't generate enough power to make it worth our while. That's the first criticism we have. Like, can you make enough to light the whole gym? All right, so I'm going to go through a little bit of exercise here. I'm going to ask for your help, and engineering students, you don't need a graphing calculator, so we'll just. All right, so energy is in watts, and then consumption or energy creation is in watt hours. So basically it's like we did before. Watts is your miles per hour, and then watt hours is how many miles you traveled. That's the equivalent to it on other fitness metrics. So if we have a 60-watt light bulb, how much does that generate in 1 hour? Just yell it out. Exactly, 60 watt hours. The average US home uses 1,305 watts on average. So in an hour, what does that consume? Right, 1,305 watt hours. And a person on a bike, you can see this here, compared to a light bulb, a person generates a little bit more than enough to light a light bulb. So a lot of people might say that's insignificant. And this almost stopped me, because a lot of people were pushing back on it, saying, just not worth it, just not worth it. But then we dug a little more, and we found that there's 32,000 gyms, 41 million active gym members, and there's 900,000 pieces of this self-propelled gym equipment that are capable of being retrofitted to put energy back into the grid. So then we do some simple math on the usage here. 100 watt hours is what they create. 900,000 pieces of gym equipment, 3 hours a day, is at 270 megawatts. Now this is commercial US gyms alone. So that's roughly enough. If we look at the US houses on a daily basis, how many houses can we fully power? So it's 8,617 US homes. Now if we go wider, we take all of the equipment all over the world, all the homes, all of the commercial gyms. It's about 10 times this. This is a more accurate one because we have real accurate analyst numbers. So about 10x. So if we look at the worldwide, we could power about 86,000 US homes. Okay, so that's point number one in terms of how significant it is. So the next thing, let's talk about collaborating forward. And this is really what I'm excited about. This is where I think the real value is. So we had a personal invitation to collaborate with this guy that you may have heard of, Barack Obama. Back in 2009, he started something called the Open Government Initiative. And the Open Government Initiative is about transparency, participation, and our big magic word of the day, collaboration. And this is really what we're looking towards. Now, more specifically, let's drill down on that a little bit of where our opportunities are. So our opportunities are with the Department of Energy and the Department of Health and Humane Services. And even more specifically there, under the directive for Barack Obama, all these agencies, there's 29 of them. They have a big report card, and they're judged on their ability to comply with that Open Government Initiative. So the compliance is on the Energy Data Initiative and the Health Data Initiative. So basically expose your data, let other people come in and help you. Your problems are too big. Okay. So more specifically now, let's look at the two big problems that these two organizations have to tackle. Number one is obesity. So 32 million people are going to be obese in the United States by the year 2030. It's a pretty big number. So even if you escape that and you say, I'm not one of the obese ones, or maybe even a little further, my family isn't going to be affected by this obesity epidemic, it's going to cost you as a taxpayer between now and the year 2030, you're going to pay an extra $500 billion. That's how much the obesity-related diseases are going to cost the US taxpayers. Okay, so high expense and then high problems, of course, with all the diseases. The next one is an equally discouraging problem is the greenhouse gas emissions. And we all heard about this, and there's a big study done back in 2007. And what they say is we have to reduce levels between 1990 and 2050 by 80 to 95%. And if we do that, we have a chance of avoiding catastrophic consequences on human and ecological systems. So basically, if you take these problems and these organizations that are set up to fight these problems, you have the obesity and you have the Health Data Initiative. And then you have the greenhouse gas emissions, and this is largely what the Department of Energy is focused on with the Energy Data Initiative. The really nice part for us is that we lay right over that very nicely. So basically what we're doing, if you look at the Health Data Initiative, we're measuring every single workout and we're writing that up to the internet. Whether you log in or not, your workout is recorded. So we know every student that's at UCI-ARC, we know how much every student is working out, how long, and how much power they created. So that's a record of health accomplishment, regional, that you can use to actually compare against obesity data. Now, so that's our second point. 86,000 homes is our first point. Our second point is to use it for health data. And our third point, this is the one that's most exciting to me. In order to fix our energy problem, or even take strides in the right direction, we have to have people understand energy better. So if you have a person that's on a machine for 15, 30, even 45 minutes, we see some of these people exercising, and they're staring at energy. That's like a Super Bowl commercial, right? People pay a lot of money for Super Bowl commercials because of all the eyeballs you get. Now, I don't know if everybody is affected this way who uses the machines that we set up, but I think twice now about turning off a light because I know how hard it is to create 100 watts of energy to light that light bulb. So this is really, I think, the number one value point is that, getting the point across about what energy is and how hard it is to make. Okay, so fitness-generated electricity is really about inspiring people to help themselves and to help their planet by changing the way they think and changing the way they act when it comes to fitness and energy. So hopefully someday I'll go back to Hong Kong and I'll be able to get that run outside after all. Thank you.